Hi, and welcome to this 20,000-foot view of LMN's estimating, budgeting, and time tracking software for landscape contractors. Here we'll go through just a high-level view of some of the key features, and if you want any more information, check out one of our longer webinars where we'll go into more detail. LMN's a package that's designed to take the customer all the way from the first phone call right through to exporting it to QuickBooks for invoicing. So we'll start right where they would call at the CRM software. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And here in LMN, you can enter both your clients and your leads even before they get an estimate. I can create information about the lead, including where they heard about us, and even apply tags, such as that they're a maintenance prospect. I can add multiple contacts to each lead, along with email and phone information, and also create one or multiple job sites for each lead where we could be doing work. All the estimates we've done for this lead are also contained here on the screen, as well as a complete communication history. So as your people do conversations or have discussions with clients or leads, you can make note of those conversations here, at least the public ones, so that anybody else in the company is aware of what's been promised or what's been said to the customer. Out of communication history, I can also create to-do items. So to-dos could be reminders to do specific things, and we can assign a specific date and person to these, so that when these users log into LMN, they'll also get a view right on their dashboard of the to-dos that are due for them. So here at the bottom of my dashboard, it's showing me my overdue or upcoming to-dos, but I can also click a list of all my to-dos here on the to-do screen. If it shows up in red, it means the due date's passed and I need to work on this. Anything in black shows that it's coming up, and anything that's been completed will show up with a strike through to it. Next up, we'll take a look at LMN's budgeting software. You need to work on a budget before you build estimates so that we can make sure that each of one of your estimates recovers its fair share of overhead. And until you build a budget, LMN doesn't know how much overhead you have. So you work through the budgeting process, forecasting your sales goals, setting up the crews that you have and how many hours they work, setting up the equipment that you own, the materials that you're forecasting you'll purchase, any forecast subcontractors, and overhead, including wages and equipment. And what LMN will then give you is a forecast profit and loss statement. So we want to make sure that these goals are profitable. And then B, it'll calculate for you an overhead recovery system designed specifically to your company's numbers. As well, if anything looks out of whack, LMN's analysis tool will look through your budget and look for things that are greater than or less than industry averages. And if it's significantly different, we'll prompt you with a warning and give you some possible ideas for correction. All this is designed to make sure that you've got a good plan for profit. And from that plan for profit, we're going to figure out exactly how much overhead and profit to build into your estimates so that you can hit the sales goals that you set here in the budget. The next thing you want to go through is the item catalog. And here's where you can set up default costs and prices for your crews, equipment, materials, subs, and other things. Each one of these items has a wage, an overtime factor, unbillable time, and then overhead recovery to tell you exactly the rate per man hour in the case of labor that you need to charge to make sure you cover all the costs of labor, the overhead that your company has, and the profit you want to hit, which will get you to the sales goal that you built back in the budget. LMN will do the same thing for equipment as well, where it'll take each piece of equipment and, with some information from you, tell you exactly what your equipment costs and needs to be billed out at per hour or per day so you can recover all your costs. Same with materials and other items, and then you can also build templates of items as well. And templates will allow you to create estimates quickly by pre-configuring a whole checklist of labor, equipment, and materials for specific tasks. You can even specify labor rates, like we can install 11 square feet per hour, or material rates, like I need every 100 square feet, 3.7 ton of gravel in order to install this driveway. Once you build these templates, it makes estimating a lot more accurate, but also a lot more consistent across estimators. Taking a look at an estimate now, you've got two different kinds of estimating in LMN. You've got standard estimates, which are used for construction work. Here we have basic client information, but then under the work areas and pricing section, here's where you're going to build your prices. Now, all of your items in here, and here I'm going to take a look at a driveway, all of your items are based off specific lists of labor, equipment, and materials and subs along with their quantities. This is so we can A, produce a very accurate estimate, And B, we can also turn this estimate instantly into a job planner for crews, which will hide the costs and pricing, but give the foreman all the tools and information they need to get this job done on time and budget. And it happens in just seconds. As well as having all of my items here, you can also see summary information like man hours and costs and break even. And break even, of course, comes from the overhead recovery system that you built when you put together your budget. Now you'll know on every single job exactly what your costs are, what your gross profit is, how much overhead this bid needs to recover, and what your break even is, and including what's going to be left over when you're done. And we can fine-tune our pricing on the estimate until it meets the goals that we're looking to hit. Printing a client proposal or crew job planner is just as simple as going to print, picking the one you want based on how you want to present it to your client, and then hitting print. Standard estimates are very similar to construction estimates, except they have two different fields. One is the number of visits, and the other is how it's going to be billed. So if we're going to include something in our monthly price, we're going to set the billing type as per season. If it's going to be billed as we do it, then we'll set the billing type as per visit. And there's also another billing type called by the hour or by the material, where you can actually bill by time and materials spent. Inside each one of these is the same things you'd see in a construction estimate. There's the labor, equipment, and materials required to get the job done, and LMN will automatically calculate the costs, the break-even, and the price you need to charge. As a brief overview, that's sort of the nuts and bolts of LMN from when the customer calls in from a lead to the time you print an estimate. There's lots of other things, like you can group your estimates by status, so you can see where things are in your sales pipeline. You can compartmentalize your estimates by division. You can track your referral sources for clients so you know where your business is coming from. And here on the estimating screen dashboard, we can get information about where our money is coming from, where it's going, what our average billing rate per hour is, our closing percentage, etc. LMN also comes complete with what we call our systems library. And here in the systems library, there's over 700 policies, procedures, and checklists built for our own landscape company. We started a landscape company a little more than 17 years ago, and since then have grown it into the industry's top 100 list. Every single document, checklist, policy, or procedure we ever built to support our own growth and development is uploaded here into LMN as Word documents. You can take these policies and procedures, make some customizations to turn them into your own, and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours over years and years developing these things on your own. Now, once an estimate is sold, we can then turn it over into LMN Time. LMN Time is a job management system first and a payroll system second, but it will do both. The idea is we want to make sure that every crew hour for payroll is accountable to something. And that may be a customer job or it may be an internal job like shop equipment maintenance. But every hour is going to get cost somewhere, so at the end of the year, we know where we spend all our payroll hours on. To set up a job in LMN is simple. You can import an LMN estimate or you can just create a job. But the key here is the tasks for the job. Each task, and it can be one or it could be as many as you want, have estimated hours. So the crew clocks into the job and then the task. And only the foreman clocks in for their entire crew. Now, as the crew's working on the tasks, they in the field and we in the office get a live estimated versus actual hours view of how this job is progressing so that everybody in the company knows the score on the job at any time. We can also use the GPS features of the phone so that when crews are clocking in and clocking out, we know what time they said they clocked in and what time they actually clocked in. And if it's different, we'll get a warning and we'll get a map of exactly where the crew was when they said they may have been somewhere else. You can generate payroll reports out of LMN Time, but even more effectively, you can export your reports directly to QuickBooks so that QuickBooks will generate the paychecks and do job costing specific to every single job. Because of course, the crews have to clock their time to a job in order to get paid. LMN Time also has a really neat scheduling tool where you can schedule both construction and maintenance style work. Each day you'll be presented with a whiteboard where you can very quickly drag and drop jobs between different crews and see how much work you've assigned to each crew at the top of each one. You can even use the optimize routes function to find a crew's route for that day and optimize it based on Google's most efficient driving directions and also print a map for the crew as well. When the crews clock in on their phones, they can be presented with their schedule for the day in the order you want it done. As crews knock off items from the schedule, it'll get ticked off as completed, and then you can run reports on work that was supposed to be done versus work that got done at any given time. LMN is also a live job reporting tool as well. In our job reports, we can see instantly and live exactly when and who's been to every job site, what dates they've ever been there, which foreman did it, what the comments left were, what the weather was like. LMN Time even has an automatic weather tracking tool for those who do snow and ice work. And then, of course, what we did when we were there. This allows us to answer customer questions and even help schedule and make up solutions on the fly as we're dealing with the day-to-day problems and mistakes that will inevitably occur. Finally, there's even a plugin for LMN called Job Site Watch, which will give your customers limited sets of information right to their cell phone. So you can offer your customer a live app that'll show them the exact status of the services on their job site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a great sales tool, as then it shows your customers how accountable your company is and how transparent it is to do work the right way. Thanks for watching this brief demonstration of LMN. For more information or to see more in-depth demonstrations of the different areas of LMN, we strongly recommend you watch the longer demonstration, where we'll go through each function of LMN slower and in more detail. Thanks for watching, and we wish you and your landscape company a very successful future.